Holy God, the power of your love is beyond comprehension. The breadth of your compassion without measure. In Jesus Christ, you have met us in the midst of life's joys and challenges and shown us what it means to love and be loved. You have entrusted us with the greatest commandment to love one another as Christ has loved us. In this time of worship, we offer you our love and loyalty, seeking to learn more of what love and loyalty mean for us in the midst of our joys and challenges. Receive our prayers and praise, and through the power of your Spirit, draw us closer to you and closer to each other as friends and followers of Christ, our risen Lord. Amen. When I was growing up, my dad would used to drive home from church each week to ask what the sermon was about. It was his way of making sure that I would listen to the preacher at church. I must confess that my mind tended to wander during the church service. The monotonous rhythm of the preacher's voice generally guided me into a dreaming state. Nevertheless, I usually had an answer ready for my dad. First, I would say that the preacher talked about sin. My dad would then ask me to elaborate, and then I would reply that the reverend was against it. I was clever enough to know that I couldn't give the same answer every time. So my following go-to response would be that the preacher talked about love. Once again, my father would ask me to elaborate, and I would then say that the preacher does support it. Today I know that my dad knew that I didn't know what the sermon was about when I answered him in that way. But today's gospel reading is really about love. Jesus gives his disciples a commandment: love one another as I have loved you. Can we be ordered to love? Most of us would say no. Shaped as we are by Hollywood films and romance novels, we usually think of love as spontaneous and free-flowing. We fall in love. Even if we put our cultural cliches aside, we know that authentic love can't be manipulated. Those of us who have kids understand full well that commanding them to love each other never works. The most we can do is insist that our children behave as if they love. Say sorry, use kind words, share. But these actions, often performed with gritted teeth and rolling eyes, aren't the same as what Jesus is talking about in John's Gospel. He doesn't give his disciples, or us, the easy way out of doing nice things with clenched, resentful hearts. Now, when Jesus says, love as I have loved you, he means it. As in for real, authentic feeling, honest engagement, generous action. But doesn't it sound as if he's asking for the impossible? Imagine what would happen to us if we took this commandment seriously. How would we have to change? What could Christianity look like if we obeyed orders and cultivated an impossible love? But if the way of Jesus is all about love, we need to find ways to press in. At the very least, we need to keep asking questions and pursuing answers. How shall we love as Jesus loved? How shall we sustain such depths of compassion and remain healthy? Do we have it in us to experience a hunger for justice, so fierce and so urgent that we'll rearrange our lives to pursue it? Do we want to? Much of the time, when we are honest, we don't. We want to be safe. We want to keep our circle small and manageable. We want to choose the people we love based on our own affinities and preferences, not on Jesus' all-inclusive commandment. Charitable actions are easy, but cultivating our heart, preparing and pruning it to love, becoming vulnerable in authentic ways to the world's pain. Those things are hard and costly. So what can we do? Where must we begin? Jesus offers a single, straightforward answer: abide in my love. Our problem is that we often treat Jesus as a role model and then despair when we can't live up to his high standards. But abiding in something is not the same as emulating it. Jesus' love is not our example, it's our source. It's where our love originates and deepens, where it replenishes itself. In other words, if we don't abide, we can't love. Jesus' commandment to us, is not that we wear ourselves out trying to love from our own quickly depleted resources. Instead, it's that we abide in the holy place where divine love becomes possible, that we make our home in Jesus' love, the most abundant and inexhaustible love in existence. The commandment, or better yet, the invitation, is to drink our fill of the source, which is Christ, spill over to bless the world, and then return to the source for a fresh infilling. This is our movement, our rhythm, over and over again. This is where we begin and end and begin again. Love one another as I have loved you. Abide in my love. Amen.